If you're wondering which players are actually worth spending your shards on, you've come to the right place. Today, I'm going through every position from goalkeeper all the way to striker, and I'll show you the best value players you should buy. Some expensive cards simply aren't worth the price, while others are absolute bargains. Let's get started. Goalkeepers. We'll begin with the goalkeeper position. Honestly, goalkeepers don't make a huge difference in fcmobile. Most of them perform very similarly, so I don't recommend spending all your shards on an expensive keeper. Of course, the best goalkeeper available is 120 OV Van der Sar, but he costs around 66,000 shards. In my opinion, that's simply too expensive. Instead, I'd recommend going for 118 over. Bono. He only costs around 15,000 shards and performs incredibly well in matches. Another great option is Gregor Kobel. He costs around 16,000 shards and is one of the most consistent goalkeepers you can buy. If you have a slightly bigger budget, Peter Schmeichel is another fantastic choice. He's excellent in head-to-head matches and makes some unbelievable saves. Overall, my recommendation is simple. Don't overspend on a goalkeeper. Use your tokens on other positions where the upgrade will have a much bigger impact. Center backs. Now, let's move on to the center backs. This position has plenty of great options, but if I had to choose just one, it would definitely be Marquinhos. His 119 OVR card is absolutely incredible. He has amazing defensive stats, great positioning, excellent pace, and he feels very smooth in game. For only around 23,000 shards, he's easily one of the best value defenders available. If you're looking for an even cheaper option, Kusanov is an amazing choice. He only costs around 14,000 shards, and honestly, he plays far better than his price suggests. He's fast, strong, aggressive, and one of those hidden gems that can completely transform your defense. If you're building a team on a budget, Kusanov is a player you should seriously consider. These two defenders are my top recommendations before spending huge amounts of tokens on the more expensive center backs. Fullbacks. Now, let's move on to the fullbacks. These positions are extremely important if you like to attack and defend with your fullbacks. Let's start with the left back position. There are quite a few options here, but one player clearly stands out. It's Marc Cucurella. His card costs only around 27,000 shards, and honestly, he's one of the best value players you can buy. He's incredibly quick, feels very smooth on the ball, and his dribbling is excellent. Another option is Theo Hernandez. His 119 OVR card is fantastic, but it costs around 32,000 shards. If you don't have that many tokens, don't worry. His lower-rated version is much cheaper and still performs really well. And if you're on a tight budget, Robinson is probably the best bargain. For only around 13,000 shards, you're getting a very fast and reliable left back who can easily compete with much more expensive cards. Personally, Robinson is one of my favorite budget picks. Now, let's switch to the right back position. The first player I'd recommend is Marcos Llorente. His 118 OVR card costs around 15,000 shards, and it's one of the best deals in the game. He's quick, strong, and contributes both in defense and attack. There's also another 118 OVR Llorente card that's even cheaper. While it's slightly weaker than the first version, it's still an excellent option if you want to save some tokens. Another great choice is Denzel Dumfries. For around 16,000 shards, you're getting a very physical right back with solid pace and excellent defensive ability. But overall, if I had to choose just one, I'd go with Marcos Llorente. He's simply the best value for your tokens. Now, let's move into midfield. Starting with the central midfielders, one player immediately comes to mind, Dominik Szoboszlai. For only around 12,000 shards, this card is an absolute bargain. He can pass, he can shoot, he can dribble, and he has enough stamina to dominate the midfield for the entire match. Honestly, this card plays much better than its price suggests. If you're looking for another fantastic option, Fitna is also an incredible midfielder. Both players offer amazing value and can easily improve almost any squad. Now, let's talk about the defensive midfield position. If you want someone who completely controls the midfield, Declan Rice is the player you should buy. Whether you choose his UEFA Champions League version, you're getting one of the best CDMs in fcmobile. Both cards cost around 20,000 to 22,000 shards. And trust me, once Rice is in your team, your midfield becomes much harder to break down. His interceptions are outstanding. His positioning is excellent, and he wins almost every tackle. If you're only buying one defensive midfielder, Declan Rice should be your first choice. We've now covered the defense and midfield. Now, it's time for the attacking positions. Let's start with the attacking midfielder. If you're looking for the absolute best cam in the game, definitely one of the strongest options available. The only problem is that his price is extremely high. So, if you're looking for something much more affordable, I have the perfect recommendation. Alessandro Del Piero. His 119 OVR card costs only around 22,000 shards. For that price, you're getting an incredible playmaker. His dribbling feels smooth, his passing is excellent, and his finishing is much better than most cams. If you're trying to save tokens while still getting an elite player, Del Piero is easily one of the best choices. Now, let's move over to the left wing. There are plenty of options here, but one player really stands out, Luis Diaz. For around 27,000 shards, you're getting one of the best left wingers in fcmobile. He's incredibly fast, his dribbling is fantastic, and he feels very responsive on the ball. Another popular option is Pavel Nedved, but here's the problem. He costs around 60,000 shards. In my opinion, that's simply too expensive. Even though he's a great player, I don't think he's worth spending that many tokens on. I'd rather save those tokens and buy Luis Diaz instead. Now, let's move to the right wing. This position has some amazing players. The first one is George Best. His 119 OVR card costs around 25,000 shards, and it's an incredible value. He's quick, his dribbling is outstanding, and he creates chances almost every time he gets the ball. Another fantastic option is Ryan Cherky. If you already have him, you're in great shape. His 5-star weak foot makes him extremely dangerous, and he feels very similar to some of the best premium right wingers in the game. Both George Best and Cherky are amazing choices. Personally, if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Cherky because of his 5-star weak foot and how smooth he feels in game. However, you really can't go wrong with either of them. All right, we've now covered almost every position. There's only one left, the most important position on the pitch, the striker. Let's talk about the most important position in fcmobile, the striker. There are a lot of great options available right now. If you have an unlimited budget, you can go straight for players like Ultimate Mbappe or Rivaldo. They're among the best strikers in the game. But let's be realistic. Most players don't have that many tokens. So, let's focus on the best value options. Without a doubt, the first player I recommend is Jonathan David. His new 119 OVR card costs only around 22,000 shards. And honestly, I think this is one of the best striker cards in fcmobile right now. He's incredibly quick. His finishing is outstanding. His positioning is excellent. And he feels very smooth on the ball. I genuinely believe he can compete with much more expensive cards like Ultimate Mbappe. For only 22,000 shards, this card is an absolute steal. If you have a bigger budget, then Rivaldo should be your next choice. He's one of the most complete attackers in the game. He can play as a striker, create chances, score long shots, and finish almost every opportunity. He's expensive, but he's definitely worth it if you can afford him. So, if I had to rank my favorite strikers, Jonathan David takes the #1 spot for value. Rivaldo is the best premium option. Those are my recommendations for every position. Remember, don't spend all your shards just because a player has a higher OVR Always think about the value you're getting. Sometimes a 20,000 shard player performs just as well as someone who costs 3 times more. Share this video with your friends. Also, let me know in the comments, which player are you saving your tokens for?